Patrice,
Yes.
what's something physical that singers often neglect?
Okay, in years and years of teaching, and guys, I've been there. People tend, and it's kind of funny, like when someone's not improving on their range or their vocals or they're continuing to struggle, it's one of my first go-tos. I'm like, are you actually warming up? Are you taking the tracks that you have and actually doing your physical warm-ups with your voice? And they're like, well, I mean, I drive in the car and I've had this many times. I put an easy song on and I sing that first and then I do my difficult song. I'm like, no, like that's not what's going to get you better. It's like, I always relate it to like athletes, right? An athlete just doesn't say at the Olympic level, right? Or say you had a runner or gymnast, right? You might get a visual of this. They're not just going to jump on the bars and start going to town. You see them stretching, they're doing all this stuff. And that actually is something singers should do as well. Like on top of just doing your like meh, or whatever it may be on the scale work, your warm-up work, you should physically be warming up as well. Stretching, because if you're stiff, that's going to reflect in your sound, right? La, la, it opens things up so much more. So you want to make sure you're physically warming up by doing some stretching, getting the body warm, getting things so things can easily move, especially performing wise too. But you want to make sure you're doing your warm-ups, because I always find one for one when people are like, I don't know, I'm not seeming to improve, I'm not doing that well. I'm like, are you doing your warm-ups? And they're like, well, no. But I'm like, well, then how do you expect that? You need to kind of hone in on certain things and get that vocal agility, right? Like that you can bounce between notes and different things. And it's not always going to happen when you're doing songs. And you can lead to damage. Like your breathing is so important, right? Another cool fact too, healthy cells need oxygen. So in disease cells, it's one of the ways that they can live and they can thrive is without oxygen. So I found a tendency to try to do my best that in the morning to do some breathing work. But as artists, right, you want to be doing some nice diaphragmatic belly breathing, right? You want to really bring in that ear and get that oxygen in. And so not only will it be helping your singing, but it's a really cool fact that it'd be like, that's how those rogue cells can thrive is without oxygen. They can use glucose and glutathione, but I don't go too hard off on that end of it. But that's why sugar, stay away from the sugar. It's going to be like, not like once in a while, right? Kind of like call it with my kids, like an 80-20 rule. Like once in a while we do something. But you don't want to go too crazy. So that's what I'd say to you on that end is singers need to warm up. Think about an athlete. They don't just go sprinting, right? Back to like even the sprinter, right? They're not going to necessarily have their best run if they're stiff. Does that make sense? Like you're going to be like, huh, how does that happen, right? They have to really stretch things out. On top of not only will it bring out the best in their performance, but avoiding injury too, right? Because if they tend to not warm up or stretch or do things and their muscles are tighter, they can be more prone towards injury. And so the same can be true with vocalists, right? We don't do the right things. We don't warm up. We don't stretch. We don't get our voices prepared for those performances, and to be able to sing for extended periods of time. That's when people can blow their voices out, vocal nodules, different things like that. So that's what I'd say. Make sure you're properly warming up. You're not skipping steps. You're stretching the body. You're doing your breathing work. You're running your scales. Do some good lip rolls are great. Kind of fun too.